guys. Welcome back, everyone. Game winning drive. We just got done with week 11. We got a special episode recording on Monday before this Dallas game has been settled. You know, we got a few of the ops on Dallas. And we're back with Jamie again. Jamie has survived since his first special appearance a couple weeks ago. There was some sketchy stuff that he's been through, but he came out the other side. And so welcome back, Jamie.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for joining.
My initial plans for the past 2 weeks are both teams that ended up losing, and I made somewhat last minute pivots that made me survive. So that felt very lucky.
Ooh.
And you're flying solo, right? So you don't have any.
Yes.
This is just all the experience in your own mind that's taking place.
I have a massive majority of the shares in this entry.
Nobody else has a voting share, is what you're saying.
No. I think 2 weeks ago I started giving out 2% to just hedge off a little once it became kind of valuable.
Man, it's a lot different experience when all the decision making is on you, right, Jamie? You didn't 100%. Have other people voting for the chalk or voting for the wild pick. You just had to step up and go, this is who I'm planting the flag on. They're going to make it. They're the value.
Single entry and single deciders. It's a lot different than the other possibilities.
That's how it's meant to be.
Then also you are the one that can change your mind.
Yeah.
So when with my ticket, we were voting, and presumably, yes, if something major happened, we could change our mind late in the week. But for the most part, it was out of our mind that you could,
Yeah,
you could.
It's hard enough getting a consensus than trying to change it before the deadline or whatever.
Yeah, unless there was some sort of massive injury or something. In fact, over the course of our season, before we lost, there was no reversals.
Right. There hasn't been any crazy Saturday news that affected lines this year. There was a few injuries here and there, but there hasn't been the surprise, the whole, the
quarterback's got COVID or whatever.
Right. So maybe not so bad to get those picks in Friday. Maybe that's relevant.
Until there is the thing on Saturday, though, right?
Right. And
so far, it would have been okay, though.
Yeah, maybe. And those things probably won't happen on the holidays because I bet the teams are supposed to be kind of more forthcoming on the injuries. So looking out for that. Anyway, so Jamie, since we've seen you, you were talking about being on Carolina. Mikey tried to bet you they'd be too high, and I guess you didn't get knocked out on Carolina then. And then this past week, you made it through presumably on some chalky thing or something.
Yeah, I took New England. I was debating between Atlanta or New England. Houston was a possibility for me because I had them, but I felt like, I didn't want the porridge that was just right. I wanted it too hot or too cold, and I ended up going with whichever one New England is in that analogy. Too hot, I guess, probably. And then they won, so that was good. It wasn't great to use the best available team and then have very few people get knocked out. But the fact that the other thing that I was going to pick was Atlanta and they lost made me feel like, well, at least I fucking survived. But normally, you burn a team that good and only 6% of the field dies, you feel pretty bad about it.
Yeah, it was about a week ago today. I feel like we were talking and you were on Atlanta and you were telling me how the quotes on Atlas were really galvanizing you or reinforcing your courage. But I'm guessing we didn't show you those quotes for a few days and you kind of softened up and went to New England. So tell us about that, if you don't mind.
You are somewhat accurately describing a conversation that we had. But what really ended up happening basically was just that the new information. Sorry, I just hit my microphone. I don't know if that affected things. I kind of planned these things out, but then 1 week of football happens and all of the numbers change completely. So the plan becomes sort of fucked. And so the plan that I had for a while included taking New England on week 17. But then what I found is the weeks between Thanksgiving and Christmas, so that's 13 through 16, when I started playing around with it last week, I found a lot more flexibility that I hadn't previously seen. There's some like Minnesota, Cleveland, New Orleans win rates that were a lot higher than previously. And
have
so
you
that
burned 49ers?
I have not used the 49ers yet.
No one really has burned them.
Yeah, they're only 2% used. And so that basically just gave me the flexibility to feel like I could deal with week 17 without having New England. I also was starting to get scared that they might not have anything to play for by then because they're doing so well and we're already at the top of the AFC, tied for the top of the AFC. But it would really suck to miss out on a great pick because I'm saving them for an even greater pick. And then it turns out they just got to, they call me up to play or whatever.
Right. They're going to be in the mix for the next couple weeks. I think the lines came out and they're -7 now at Cincinnati. So the few people who saved them, well played, right? I think
yeah.
What was it? Something like 89-90% of the people who had them picked them.
Used them. Yeah. Yeah, they got 1, 2, looks like 4 really strong weeks still. You can pick them.
Yeah, and man, it's
including at the very end.
Yeah, 17 and 18.
Yeah,
we were on New England, and like that Thursday, you're like really hoping they're low. Their thing's not too high, right? And then it comes out 44, and then you see all the other teams, and none of them are even over 20, right? Like it's just flattened out on.
Houston was lower than I thought. I thought they would be higher. That was kind of the only surprise to me.
Well, since your pick was done Thursday and you were just probably like on to the next week, the other, the people who were paying attention all the way because it mattered to them, the Pittsburgh and Houston, like their lines met up.
Oh, the money lines were converging.
And like future value wise, Houston maybe a little better than Pittsburgh because they got the week 16 spot. So I think if you were like staring at all the way to the deadline, you maybe not too surprised.
Yeah. They have 15 and 16 actually. Houston's pretty good.
15. What's 15? Oh, Arizona. Yeah, I feel like this past weekend a bunch of teams got kind of shaken up power rating wise, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Atlanta.
The one that I saw on the horizon, and I'll take credit for this, is the Commanders. Tanking early on. I remember this must have been in like maybe 5, 6, 7 weeks ago, something like that, where we were looking at some of the holiday slates, Gabe, and it was Christmas, and I think Commanders Cowboys was like a pick'em or something like
It definitely was for a little while there.
And I was like, man, I don't think the Commanders are going to be in that position. I didn't know that they would tank this hard, but like. I kind of saw the Cowboys as being a very viable option on Christmas because the Commanders, suck so bad. And even if JD comes back, I still think Dallas is like a really good option.
Yeah, man. Hey, full credit because you called it, and I think I might have even said at the time, oh, but Washington is home, so they'll be at least, But Washington has crashed. Dallas, I guess we get to see more of them tonight. They're kind of maybe holding steady kind of all season.
This is like a football knowledge theory. I wanted to see what you think. I talked to my buddy about this, and basically I think that for the most part, there aren't really like good and bad defenses. I think that defenses are largely a function of the offense that they play. And of course, there's going to be like some exceptions with like horrendously bad defenses or really good defense. Like the only one that comes to mind is that the Ravens that one year where they like didn't let anybody score. But for the most part, everyone that was like, oh, the Cowboys have like one of the worst defenses ever. I think that especially in a game like football where things are dictated much more like in terms of like time left in the game, field position, all that stuff. And the fact that the Cowboys are scoring at such a high pace, teams know that they have to go for it more. They're going to have to push the envelope, and that leads to like a higher score from their opponent. And so, yes, the score of the game might be like 41-35 or something, but that's not really indicative of them being a horrendous defense.
Well, it sounds like it comes natural with the offense. If your theory is like truth, then that's still part of a team's value. It can't really be switched in and out every week. It's still.
But also, like, if a bad team like is executing on offense, there's not much that a defense can do to stop it.
Yeah.
I don't know about these
I feel like a good offense does trump a good defense, generally speaking. Like, you just find a way to do it because you kind of, as a defense, you have to stop everything, but as an offense, you only need to execute one thing, essentially. And like the defense is I feel, I don't know that much, but it feels to me like the defense's job is more to figure out what the offense is doing than it is for the offense to figure out what the defense is doing. The offense is just trying to kind of exert their will, and then the defense is trying to stop them from doing that, right? As far as there not being good defenses, it does seem like maybe, the matchups of offense and defense, at least on a play-by-play basis, is maybe a little bit more of a rocks, paper, scissors type thing, or, the equivalent that has 8 options. And so maybe it's not necessarily the quality of the defense in some overarching way, but the way it gets matched up with the offense on a play-by-play or game-by-game or drive-by-drive basis. Gabe is smirking at both of us.
Yeah. What's the deal?
These theories you guys are, I don't know what to make of these words you guys are saying.
This comes back to the reason that I think the Cowboys were a good selection on Christmas against the Commanders, because people are like, oh, the Cowboys defense is so bad. You can't pick a team that has such a bad defense. I disagree with that notion. I just feel like the fact that they're a bad defense is just a function of their own offense scoring a ton and putting the other team's offense on the field, that knowing that they're going to have to score, so they're going to be more apt to push it. Right, like if you're up 21-3 or something, your goal is not necessarily to score another 30 points. That's where football differs from something like basketball. In the second quarter, if the score's like 41-25, you're not like running clock. Your goal each possession in basketball is to.
There's going to be a ton of possessions no matter what.
To score 3, and so in football, it's like
football.
I don't know.
I think that's pretty like well established that most teams think about it like this, like where there becomes a point where you start worrying about your win percentage, not just trying to add more points to the board. And especially it's real apparent now in the NFL with all these teams using timeouts on defense to save the clock when the other team has the ball. Like,
yeah.
Could you guys picture anyone doing this in the 90s? Like, it would be insane to think about, the other team has the ball with a minute and a half left and we call a timeout. Like, that would have been like the seen as the stupidest thing. And now every team is like racing to do it. It's a whole new or like
letting a team score. That would like blow people's minds.
Maybe, dude. But I have a memory as a child of the Ravens letting someone score on purpose, where I feel like no one I wonder if this was a dream. I swear I have this vision of maybe like Tony Saragusa, like letting someone run by him or something.
It's funny you say that, because right when you just said that, I thought of Tony Saragusa, and I don't know if this was a shared dream or I don't know.
Shared dream. Yep.
Yeah.
Speaking of shared dreams, when I was a child, I thought that. This is a bit of a tangent. It has nothing to do with Survivor. But I woke up, I had a dream that my brother was in, and I was like, hey, Ben, wasn't that like a weird dream? And he was like, what are you talking about? And that was when I learned that dreams are independent things that we have. Just fun little aside.
Thanks for sharing that, Jamie.
You're welcome.
If your dreams like senses are tuned on, you got to be open to some Survivor dreams. I had a Survivor dream earlier this year where it was week 2, where Arizona was more popular than Baltimore, and we projected Baltimore more popular. I just woke up on Saturday with clear thing in my head. Arizona will be number one. It was from a dream. I didn't listen to it. I didn't modify our projections. But I'm open to all y'all's crazy Survivor thoughts. Anyway.
Was that the one when they were like 51% and lost or something?
No.
That was later.
That was when they played Carolina at home, week 2.
Yeah, if you remember, there wasn't like a massive exit from Survivor until like week 6 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in this thing still. And I guess we can just start looking forward for this in this contest. Circa Survivor.
Gabe, how does this compare to previous years?
You want the chart, man?
I just want like more.
You can't handle the chart.
More of your vibe than
okay.
Like hard data.
Hard data says right in the middle of the pack.
In terms of players left?
In terms of percentage left.
Oh, okay. Right. Yeah.
Okay. I guess we lost a little bit more, but you can see like, if you're looking at this on the screen, 2020 had less weeks. I think it had 3 less rounds than the rest of them. So you can kind of throw that one out. And I guess from that point of view, we have a little more people than average surviving this year. Plus the fact all the huge numbers of signups, like there's a lot of people left. There's a lot of entries. And, normally you get this far and there's like 100, 200 entries and you think like, okay, I'm just going to keep surviving. I'm going to keep just bringing some wins together. But personally, when I see 900 plus entries alive, it's like, dang, there's going to be plenty of these people who are planning deep, who are not thinking I got to survive this week, who are thinking I got to save this team for week 16, this team for week 15, and having the perfect map going forward. And if there's just a bunch of people trying to do this, they're all going to be a little different paths, and some of them are going to survive. So just like not thinking about the future and trying to survive to get there, there's going to be people in better positions than you and have an advantage on you, earning value from you. So it seems like a big week to try to go for the 18 million or try to survive a little longer. I think Jamie's entry and Survivor Strikes Back, my brother-in-law's entry had the same issue, and that's a lot to talk about. I think what you say reminds me of, again, I know that we constantly compare this to poker, but it reminds me of a poker tournament where, particularly like the main event where you start with some astronomical number of players and you get, relatively far in the event, which is kind of where we are now in Survivor. And then you look up at the lobby and it says 900 players left. And like the majority of the tournaments that you're playing don't even start with 900 players. So like you're deep in an event and you're still way outside of the size of a tournament that you're generally playing. So like you have to win, one of the tournaments that you're already playing, even though you've already played for whatever. Right, and in poker it might say 900 people left and 700 until the money.
Right. So you're not even like anywhere.
It's like 899 people got to get eliminated to get the money type of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So as far as this week, I think it's pretty clear. When this video comes out, we'll have projections out for a little bit, but it's pretty clear what people want to do this week.
It is.
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear, man. We know it. We know this.
And the answer is pick the 49ers. Is that what's clear that people want to do?
That's clear what everyone else is going to do.
Right.
Okay, so just going down the list, I think there's basically 4 teams that matter this week. We know Baltimore and Detroit, huge favorites. Most everyone wants to save them if they can.
Just notably there's a lot of people that have access to Baltimore as compared to Detroit. There's like 3 times more. So it's just sort of noteworthy.
Right. That's a big deal. And also, how many entries have a Thanksgiving play they feel good about while also burning Detroit or Baltimore. It's looking like Baltimore should be the biggest favorite on Thanksgiving. I'm not sure how much of the field thinks that. I was talking to someone a few days ago, and they were like, "Oh, you don't want Baltimore or Cincinnati on Thanksgiving, divisional. Baltimore's in trouble."
People love talking about divisional games and away games as if they really matter in a way that I don't perceive them to matter.
I agree with Jamie wholeheartedly.
Yeah, but those teams just know each other real good, man. Division.
Right.
It's so like that's so like
they've been scheming for them.
This quarterback wins when it's 68 degrees and sunny, and
yeah, the green jerseys won 3 in a row. Someone someday might show us some data that changes your mind a little bit. That's not too cherry picked, but anyway, the Baltimore versus Cincy seems like the best Thanksgiving spot to me. Could be wrong. Seems like the best. I think a lot of people probably suspect that and don't want to take Baltimore this week, even though most people have them. They are playing the Jets. It seems like an easy win, and getting to Thanksgiving seems sweet for anyone, right? Like it's the dream.
Yep.
Start with one
you
entry.
get to share the sweat with your family for the weekend. This is who we're rooting for today, guys.
Right.
If
you lose, you're like, oh, y'all saw that shit. That was some.
Yeah. You can ruin Thanksgiving by being really cranky or whatever.
and getting super drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, how else can you make Thanksgiving about yourself other than having some entries, right? Like that's what.
Throw a full bottle at the TV.
So what do you before I keep going down the list, what do you guys think if 70% have Baltimore, they're hosting the Jets? You guys think people are going to slam them, or you guys think people are going to hold back? What's your first instinct?
I think that less than half of the people that have access to Baltimore will use them.
I agree.
Yeah,
this is going against my theory early in the year, which was people don't know how to play and they're disregarding holding teams for down the road. If you've arrived at this point, you are now actively preparing.
Yes, there's only 5% of the field is alive, right? So 95, that's all the riffraff, and then some got knocked out.
Yeah,
I would think we haven't had no picks for a few weeks.
Yeah,
which kind of sad, I guess. But I'm with you guys. I think most people are going to try to save Baltimore. So maybe instead of 35%, maybe it's 20, 25, maybe 30, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And then going down, we also have Detroit as a big favorite. Some people will pick them, but not very available to holiday spots. I think they're not really doesn't really matter about them this week. Seattle, huge favorite at Tennessee. 29% have them. We're thinking a lot of people that have them are going to use them out of 29%.
Yeah.
Maybe 25, 6, 7, 8. It's going to be high.
Wow. Even though they still have, 2 to 3 quite decent spots ahead. I wonder if more people find a way, and that's where you maybe have to look at the teams tab, right, and see who has Seattle. What are their other options? How easy is it for them to hold them a little bit longer? Although, you're right, a great spot to use them in theory.
Yeah, I guess the week that they were used a lot, I guess that was week 3. I guess Buffalo was used a lot then too. So maybe Seattle people don't have Buffalo or something like that. But I would think it's pretty comparable to New England last week, Denver before, Colts a few weeks before that. Like the picks from available, 80, 90, something like that. But then, so how much of the field have we talked about? That's like maybe half the field we've covered. Then the next spot, the entire field basically has this one. San Fran.
Yeah.
Hosting Carolina. Maybe a lot of those people with Baltimore, Detroit, Seattle come down to this one because it looks so good.
Right.
San Fran's -7.
Are we just going to keep going with like the Panthers suck narrative, even though they're going to be like 10-4, and people are going to be like, oh, pick against the Panthers this week?
I mean, you could bet them on the money line right now, plus 300 if you just.
It's funny that whenever I raise a point, I do what you're doing, what I do to everybody else. Like if you really believe that, then there's a perfect
put some fucking money on
for you to express that belief somehow.
Right, and Well, since you can't just click on our podcast a second and book it, what am I even saying by calling you out for that? But
no, but you're 100% right. Like if I really do believe that, then what am I doing just sitting here? Not like if somebody's going to flip you heads or tails and give you 60%, you're obviously going to
that's a good
do
spot.
that immediately.
Right, but I'm not even sure what side I'm pushing you towards here. Because
you're just pushing me to do something.
Take some action, right? My thought in my head was the Carolina is plus 300, so it's not like a bunch of the world's betting them. It's not like a bunch of the people actually believe they're good. San Fran, I guess, maybe is better this week all of a sudden because Purdy's back.
Purdy's back and he did well. It's worth noting if we're just looking at the map and talking about it, right? San Francisco has a great spot in week 15 against Tennessee. So if you're not picking them this week, you're kind of doing well on ownership theoretically because we think they're going to be very owned, and you're getting access to a really nice spot on 15.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, looking at this spot weeks ahead of time and seeing entries that we're going to be stuck on San Fran, way I play, I'm thinking, okay, I want to not be on San Fran. It's the clear available to everyone spot. That's 100%. That's -7. Like I want to either burn them ahead of time or find a use for them later. And yeah, they're hosting Tennessee that week. Maybe has a few other favorites that people feel fine about. No, they're the huge favorite, right? I guess.
Well, you can use Jacksonville against the Jets, which is a nice way to use a shitty team kind of with a high win rate there. And the Giants, too, are actually pretty high that week, which is crazy because they're terrible, right?
Oh, yeah. Picking the Giants in Survivor this year would be you get like bonus points.
So, if the thesis statement of this podcast is you should not take San Francisco this week, and you look at my entry and scroll down, it's pretty dark stuff to see what my options are. I can burn one of my two remaining really good teams, who, by the way, are starting to seem like not that good of teams, Kansas City and Philadelphia. They were like my back pocket awesome teams that, have not really played as well as I had hoped. But realistically, I think I'd have to go to Las Vegas, the Raiders at 59%, which is scary.
Dude, that's exactly what we want to see. I'm going to try to load it up. So just what's in your head about this? Like one thing is, okay, maybe San Fran's not going to pop off crazy high because we got Baltimore, Seattle, and their future spot.
Well, the issue is, again, I think Jamie said it, that it's just availability. Like when you're looking at this, there's like nobody has anybody else available for the most part in any large number. So the fact that San Francisco is 98%. I mean, it does suck that they have, the week 15 where they're 12.5-point favorites. So like, I would, I don't know. I would kind of want to keep them for that. And so you might see like a smattering of like, the 29% that have Seattle, the 23% that have Detroit on those with the intention of keeping San Francisco on week 15. But if you're in that bag, do you want to, keep, use San Francisco now, knowing that everyone that saved them is going to be on them in week 15?
Yes. Also, just thinking about the EVs and how it works out, like you're taking an EV hit with San Fran this week, I expect. Just how many more people are going to be on bigger favorites, and there's going to be a fat crowd on San Fran. Even if it's only 20% on San Fran, that's still kind of a lot if everyone else who's a smaller favorite is like dispersed.
Yeah, well, by rule, it has to be because nobody has anybody, and no one's going to take Baltimore for the most.
If I was told that they were only going to be 20% picked now, I'd lock them in right this second.
Yeah,
instead of going down to Las Vegas, I'm scared that they're going to be higher than that. It seems like if you're trying to figure out how owned they're going to be, the ultimate question is how owned is Baltimore going to be, because that's the only other big pick that has high availability that can really sort of eat into the potential San Francisco picks.
Yes. So, I mean, that means reading these other people's minds, right? Like, how do you read their minds? Are most people loving taking them against the Jets?
Yeah, because San Francisco is so available, you can't go like, well, do these entries have them? It's like, well, everybody has San Francisco. So yes, the Baltimore entries have them. It doesn't matter. Everybody does. I mean, I guess 2% is not nothing. So I guess you could sort of see, where the ones that don't have them are, but that doesn't really matter because it's such a small percent.
Also, so like obviously, if you're considering Baltimore, you have to make your a separate plan for Thanksgiving, right? And if you're just looking at the map, it's going to say the Eagles, are your next best bet at 8-point favorites against Chicago. But that seems a little crazy to me too. Like the Chicago's won 15 games straight or something. They were saying that after they played the Commanders, and this is what happened last year. If the Hail Mary last year, Commanders versus Bears. After that game, the Bears lost every one of their remaining games. Maybe not exactly. And then after that, the Commanders won every one of their games. And so this year, the Commanders played the Bears, and the Bears literally haven't lost since then, and the Commanders have lost every game since then.
So you're saying Chicago they could take out Philly on Thanksgiving, or you think they're not going to be as big of a dog as 8 points? 8 points is kind of a lot, right? I'm thinking though, if people are considering using Baltimore to save Philly for that's pretty. Probably a lot of people are going to do that, right? They get them through Thanksgiving. It gets them.
So that's one where the percentages are kind of small enough where you could look at how much overlap is there between these 80% that have Philly and these 70% that have Baltimore.
You want to know how many entries have both available?
Yeah.
Boom, 450.
So almost exactly half of the field.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, I mean, okay, so would half the field just use Baltimore now and save Philly? I think Philly has too many good spots on the map where
Philly right now is 90% for Week 18. I don't know if you've seen that lately.
Oh, hosting Washington?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's where they're clipped into my map right now.
If you're just evaluating based on the skills of the team, that's not ideal for Week 18 because a lot of things can change. Obviously teams could intentionally be starting their second string, third string, whatever.
So for what it's worth, on the little model thing I'm looking at, it has Philadelphia number 1 seed 50% of the time. What is that?
At the end of Week 18 or locked up going into 18?
That when all the dust has settled in the regular season, half the time they will be the number 1 seed. So what does that say about Week 18 and then needed? I mean, Washington. I don't know. I forget what if Philly has a pattern of resting or if they've ever been in that spot before. But man, thinking about how many entries are alive and how to make a lot of money, Week 17 and 18, that might be just the whole $18 million question right there, right?
Yeah. So that was the thought process for me last week when I was really trying to psych myself up into taking Atlanta. I was saying having access to New England 17 and 18 is how I can really, chop this 8 ways instead of 110 ways. Because it seems like the way to improve your EV right now is not to slightly increase your chances of surviving, right? It's to have less people surviving with you, probably with the amount of people that are still left, and we're kind of running out of weeks.
Yes. Okay. I guess it's worth talking about which weeks you can actually do that, right? Which weeks can you hurt yourself to make a little bit of money? Maybe. I think
Week 15 with the 49ers. For everybody that doesn't take them this week, they have to take them Week 15, basically.
Yeah, okay. I hear that. First thought though is it still means lots of the fields are going to have Jacksonville. Lots of the field will have San Fran probably. Like these.
Look, I'm going to look at week 14 when you guys are done with this little chat because that week looks crazy to me.
Oh, let's go through them in order.
Okay.
That's what I had in mind. Obviously, Thanksgiving, there's ways for the field to get blown up. And depending on the lines, some people are going to be on dogs. Like Dallas hosting KC. Kind of think some people might take that when they have a favorite available. They might just reach down.
If there's like 2 upsets or like even 3 upsets on Thanksgiving, this contest is like over, right?
Yeah. And last year, none of the favorites on the holidays lost, which is kind of hard for no favorites to lose over 7 games. So people might be lulled into a little false sense of favoritism. We'll see what the EV shake. I'm kind of interested in the dogs. Anyway, week 13, even before week, I think is like a that's going to be a big shakeup week. I feel like that slate is the slate with it's a short slate, right? It has all these buys of the teams playing a few days before, and it's like
but you still have a good chunk of teams that are 6-point favorites or more.
Yes, but as far as getting ahead of the field and maybe hurting yourself to get ahead, like it really looks like the LA, I almost call them the Clippers, the Chargers. They're going to be the spot everyone accumulates on. So that's like the first anti-field spot. I think like there's going to
be.
Why not Jacksonville?
Jacksonville looks fantastic.
Yeah, Jacksonville has this incredible future schedule after that, right?
That's true.
Yeah, they got a 15 and 18 that look good too, but
and also the anchoring effect. A ton of people have just been mapping Chargers in that spot the entire year, and a bunch of those think things like, "Well, that's the plan. I'm sticking to it." Instead of taking,
isn't it also a thing where they were a team? Weren't they like the team 3 weeks ago or something? And then it was like, if you didn't take them that week, you're going to take them 13.
Yeah. Yes. It was the week that you could have picked either of the LA teams.
Yeah, the Rams or the Chargers.
Yeah. So that's like singed in some people's brains, right? That's what they're going to do.
Maybe. But I feel like Atlas helps me not have that singeing because it's just kind of fun to do it every week. Like I've had a lot of situations where this was my plan, but the data changed and it's kind of easy to look at and pivot.
Yeah, no, hey, that's like obviously using Atlas makes you way smarter, and the approach of I have new info and I will adjust my strategy. That's what everyone in the world should be doing if they're trying to have an edge, right? Like, what is the reasoning? I made this plan weeks ago when I had less info. I'm sticking to it. That seems dumb to me.
Yeah, I agree.
I guess it's like, I knew I was in the clear state of mind, so I saw this thing that's definitely true. So I got to hold on to that. But yeah, I'm with you guys. Every time we change the power ratings and the odds, I'm like trying to make a new plan on how to win the 18 million instead of chopping this thing 60 ways. But all these. I know we're about to get through these weeks, but earlier, Jamie, to start, you mentioned these teams that are creeping up there that might help people bridge from Thanksgiving to Christmas, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about Miami hosting a couple spots, or even the Giants or Cleveland, or even the Saints.
Minnesota.
Yeah, Minnesota hosting Washington. And if those like 5 games or whatever, if the favorites win all those, then Christmas might be like crazy packed full of people, right? 400 people alive on Christmas.
Yeah.
But if not, then we can easily get down double digits, single digits. Anyway, let's keep going through these weeks and think about how to win 18 million week by week. So week 14, it looks like maybe the Washington or the Minnesota spot and the Tampa Bay spot. Anyone who has Buffalo or in KC, they will feel smart. But again, these are big favorites. These are hard to win to lose, right?
As of right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just clicked week 13 through 16 and, sort by spread. And each week has like a good chunk of teams that are big time favorites.
Yeah.
Teams that are not that good too. There's a smattering of the good ones and the teams that people feel good burning,
Right.
When you use a shitty team, there's like endorphins that a Survivor player feels. And these weeks have a lot of opportunities for that. And so it'll be, there's going to be a lot of money made and lost navigating these correctly and having the luck on your side as well.
Yeah, and it's not that far away. Like, we have power ratings. We know the power ratings change a little bit every week, but it's not like we're in week 3 looking at week 16 now. We're only like 4 games away from it.
Right. So here's a question. What about looking at Dallas in week 15? Because, they're not a big favorite and they have the Christmas coming up where so many people are going to feel like they have to use them. You might find yourself on an interesting island there where people are taking all sorts of teams, at 10, 15%, and you can just kind of separate yourself. And if you hit a 9-leg parlay, you just win the tournament.
Man, they're 2-point favorites there, Jamie.
Yeah, no, it's not a way to safely get to week 16. It's a way to potentially find yourself in week 16 with hardly anybody else there.
I guess, man, I don't know.
Yeah,
because I'm looking at myself as somebody who feels like I'm locked into Dallas for Christmas. That's my only reasonable option.
Yeah.
How many people are going to be sitting there thinking the same thing?
Right. It's going to hurt being on Dallas with a bunch of people then, but doing going for the -2 when all those other favorites are out there a few weeks earlier, that seems maybe riskier than just picking a dog on, like, taking Chicago on Thanksgiving or something, where if it wins, it clears out plenty of people and you still get to save Dallas for Thanksgiving. Man, I know some people use Dallas for the game tonight. They must be set up pretty well for Christmas, but it's hard to want to use Dallas right now. Like, it seems too like self-harm to get rid of Dallas when Christmas. I mean, what's happened on these teams already? Kansas City just lost to Denver. Detroit lost to Minnesota. Like, the Christmas is gonna. We have some narratives where any of these teams could get knocked off, right? At minimum, we have some narratives.
I'm not psyched about Eagles on Thanksgiving. I would not be psyched about that one. I don't think that. I mean, the spread posted right now is going to be 8. I would bet that that's going to be way lower.
You would bet that, but you're not really going to bet that.
You can't. Well, the places that I have available do not offer me the ability to wager on Thanksgiving Day games currently.
Maybe tomorrow it comes out, right? Usually we have on Tuesday is when the lines come out for the following week on Atlas. So tomorrow afternoon we're going to have week 11, week 12, and Thanksgiving lines all up on the. Or no, sorry, week 12. Week 11 just happened. We're going to have week 12, and then Thanksgiving and week 13 all be lit up.
All right, maybe I'll call my bookie after this.
There you go. All these teams on Thanksgiving, I mean, like, we have Baltimore penciled at 86%. Is that the only one you feel good about, Mike?
Yeah, for sure.
And to get there, you got to use them this week as a -14. So it's like, I don't
know when I used them, but it was a long time ago. I haven't had to think about Baltimore thoughts in a long time.
It's funny how week 2 you're just like, I don't need this team ever again. And
it was very cool for like 4 weeks or whatever when they didn't have Lamar. And I was like, oh, maybe they're like shitty. I got to use them. Nobody else is going to have the future value they thought they did. And now he's just back and they're rolling.
And now they're like all over all these weeks again.
Yeah,
Jamie,
they're crazy.
You have Eagles penciled in for Thanksgiving?
No, I have Kansas City for Thanksgiving, and then Philadelphia is theoretically 18.
Okay, and then Christmas?
Christmas is Dallas.
Okay, all right. So that's the thing, is like when you get to a certain point in the contest, you have it's like a if-then statement, like for the rest of the tournament almost. Where especially the holiday weeks, because it's just there's so few options. You can't pivot as easy. Yeah, if if Ravens, then then it just like dictates the rest of your selections. And so like this week, to be fair, there's a handful of selections you can make, and then maybe week 15 gives you a handful of selections. But for the most part, like maybe like 4 or 5 of the remaining weeks are dictated by one pick, right?
Yeah, sort of. There's a few where it's like I can kind of go, that week, or I can go kind of, 79% this week and 71. You know what I mean? Just a couple where I can swap either or, but my options aren't getting limited.
Yeah.
Man, Chicago, Jim. I gotta just before I forget, I gotta let you know my hot read, and that is Chicago is going to handle Pittsburgh, and that's your path to Thanksgiving right there, dude.
I used Chicago 2 weeks ago instead of Carolina.
Well, yeah.
I have no options ever, dude.
I didn't put this one. I have your map saved, but it was from before that. You're right.
Yeah, no, that was the whole thing that we had like talked about on the last time I was on the episode, was the difference in win rate was small, but the difference in ownership would be big. So I was like, all right, let me take Chicago, and it worked out.
That was smart, dude. But now you're, dude,
without Chicago.
If you took Atlanta this week at New Orleans, you might be on an island. And they're favorites. You don't need Atlanta in your path. I've already checked. Don't even worry about them. And
although theoretically they have a week 18 option when they're playing New Orleans again, but at home.
Yes. Also this week is Thursday is Buffalo, Houston. Not expecting many people in Buffalo, maybe like one. So you don't have to worry about the Thursday overhang if you're on a small dog and you're trying to like scoop everyone. There's a better chance that when you submit the pick of Atlanta, the whole 18 million is still up for grabs for that week, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. It makes a small amount of sense.
Yeah, okay. Hey, so let's think about this week's problem.
Why wouldn't I just take Las Vegas? Like, aren't they going to be equally unowned and at least give me 7% better chance to win?
Yeah.
With equally, even less future value, actually.
Yeah. I mean, hey, you got to watch that game tonight, right? You got to get your notebook out. Like they're playing, and they're not too big of dogs. If they win, that spot will look good. But also
then the ownership will look worse.
Yeah, but you're not even worried about that, dude. You're just trying to get off the San Fran.
Any ownership will be better than San Francisco, my other option.
Also, Shedeur Sanders. Like, is he going to be the quarterback next week for Cleveland? Getting to play against him, that seems pretty sweet spot. Like, we know Vegas isn't good, but like, that dude seems like he's going to have some trouble. That Gabriel guy seemed like a little bit better than Shedeur. I don't know if you watched any of the Baltimore-Cleveland game yesterday.
I was watching the updates and rooting for Cleveland, but I didn't actually see the images of the players moving and whatnot.
Well, they put him in, and he didn't really impress. I guess whatever. But
I heard he also did not meet Lamar Jackson at midfield for the handshake after the game, the classic quarterback handshake.
Oh, why not, dude? Why didn't you do that?
I'm not sure, Gabe. You could probably read some think pieces that speculate. By the way, did we lose Mikey?
Yeah, he went to feed the pigs, and the pigs ate him, man.
Oh shit!
That's what we say in Virginia when they disappear. But Mikey has more of like an emotional like toll hanging out with us with our live entries, and him just thinking of what could have been.
No, it's very painful, I assume.
Yeah, could you imagine if your Bears lost and we dragged you back here?
No way I'll be back once I'm out of this thing. I'm done. I'm gonna be swearing off Survivor for a whole year if that happens.
Dude, you say that, but if Atlas gets some March Madness tools going, a big prize pool somewhere.
Does Circa do anything for that? They must, right?
Circa does not. I think last year we kind of, or some people tweeted at him like, "Hey, you might do something like this," and I think it was hard to traveling to Vegas is harder during March Madness than opening football week. Maybe I don't know. They had some reason. Someone should do one.
But you don't have to like submit all your picks maybe the way that you normally do in this, right? You could just everybody just fills out the bracket once and you submit it and then it's done.
Oh no, this isn't bracket stuff. Survivor is different than bracket stuff.
I understand that, but the main form of gambling on March Madness, I was just kind of thinking maybe they do a huge bracket.
No, I've never seen that in Vegas. I don't think.
That's kind of weird. Only like Pepsi does that. Oh, Mikey's back.
Yeah, like Warren Buffett and Pepsi do it.
Whenever that happens, do you guys ever think like oh shit, like there's some sort of like event that occurred in Maryland?
We didn't even acknowledge it for 6 or 7 minutes that you were
like like an asteroid or something.
Or like you seen Red Dawn?
Yeah, there was a Red Dawn incident.
There's paratroopers landing in Mikey's goat patch.
So, like sometimes when an NFL game cuts out or something, my immediate thought is like, I don't know, like Bane
blew up the stadium.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, or what's that? Ricin. There's ricin everywhere, and I had to take it off TV. Anthrax. No, we assumed there was some farming incident, Mikey, where the animals.
The goat got out of the stable.
Jamie and I both read Animal Farm. We know how things can get out of control.
The animals exploded.
Yeah, what we're talking about something about taking Vegas this week against Cleveland because Cleveland has Shedeur Sanders, and Jamie dropped some gossip that he didn't even dap up Lamar after the game, which I feel like Lamar's got to be the most dap upable quarterback in the league, right? So what's going on?
He's up there for sure. But the Sanders family, they're kind of like the balls in basketball, right? Like there are a lot of social media promoting and maybe not necessarily that good at the game, or I been misread?
LaMelo is like actually a good player. And I think that the tide
actually, I think Lonzo's starting to do okay this year too with wherever he ended up.
Or maybe it's Lonzo. No, that's what I was thinking.
No, LaMelo is decent too, but he plays for Charlotte, and so that doesn't really. Yeah. It's kind of easy to be the best player on that team.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, we got a few minutes left. I want to just run through the kind of convo loop again about picking San Fran this week.
Okay.
To kind of get our closing thoughts just on the record, maybe with some if and then conditionals. Throw those on if you want, but I guess my read is depending on how projections go, depending on how. I mean, I say depending on that, but like maybe nothing changes that much, and it's just having to soul read the field. Will San Fran be picked more than 30% or less? But my read right now is if they're over 30, then I want nothing to do with them. If they're like 21, 22, all right, I'm going to consider it.
Yeah, I think they're over 30 for sure. The way that you would solve it technically is to just go through each team and just assume like 90% of the teams that are like 28% available or less, like 19% available, like 90% of those teams use that team.
Like, for example, I got on the screen right now. You think people with the Rams, 90% with the Rams will take the Rams? Green Bay, 90% take them? Buffalo, is that what you're saying?
I suppose. Like
well, I think that you could find a lower limit maybe for San Francisco ownership is to just kind of make a aggressive assumption about how much of the other teams get used and then fill in the rest with San Francisco, and that can kind of be your floor.
Man, week 12
Baltimore is the fly in the ointment. What's interesting?
Yeah. I was going to say the week's pretty interesting looking at the choices, but Jamie, you used all the good choices this week, man. So
I absolutely did.
We can't talk about why the Rams or the Packers or the Bills or the Lions or the Seahawks might be cool plays because
we can, but it's all very theoretical for me.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, I do have access to Philly and Kansas City, of course. but I will not be using either of them this week. I can reveal that to the listeners.
Yeah, that seems.
But San Francisco and Las Vegas are my two things I'm thinking about right now, and I don't know that I'll find the strength to pick Las Vegas.
I don't know that I could do that this far into the tournament. They're so bad, man. I get Sanders is bad, but like, holy cow!
I feel like if San Francisco is under 28%, I'll be fine with it. But if I pick them and they're over, if it starts with a 3 or something, I'm going to be pissed.
Also, Raiders are a team that are like capable of intentionally losing.
You're just saying that, man.
No, like who's a team that's not capable of that?
Steelers.
Washington, perfect example. They suck, and they're not capable of intentionally losing.
I mean, what does that even mean, though?
What, I'm not sure what that means either. Based on motivation, or
no, come from the top, like the ownership, phoning it in.
So trying to get draft picks, like actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Hey, I want to say, Jimmy, look at this map. Taking Philly, maybe kind of hot, and maybe don't rule it out to 0 yet, because it should be extreme. Like, it might be Stone Cold Island.
Gabe, the exact reason I keep being in these shitty situations is because I keep doing that. I keep going, well, I have this good team. Maybe I'll just use them now.
No,
and
that's not true. That's not true.
Just be taking New Orleans over and over again for the last 5 weeks of the season.
Jamie's going to be taking 6-point dogs for the last 5 games.
No,
I'll take Alabama in week 15, Auburn in 16.
All right, good one. But I think it might seem to you and to people that that's what you're doing, but I think it's very different. Like, haven't you used all these teams on the weeks that they are popular to use? Like, that's when you shouldn't do it. The week 12 Philly, when 0 people will be on it, and they're a favorite, kind of hot, dude.
Right, but one of the things that it seems to me with a team like maybe say like Philly or Baltimore, right, where their row is just so full of dark green on Survivor Atlas, meaning, they have high win percentages. They just have so many good spots that the ownership maybe can never be so bad, because there's always more good spots where people are going to keep trying to save them. So they never just end up with 55% of the field picking them, seemingly.
Right, and then
and so I don't need to take them this week in order to have them in a week where they're not that owned, because there's so many weeks where 10% of the field will use them, 10% of the field will use them, and you're never going to be stuck with everybody.
We were looking at the Chargers before. They are like definitely an either or, because they're not even a favorite, save for like one other time, I think.
Well,
at this point they have 13 and 17.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. It was like that's an example of the opposite of what you're saying, where Eagles are good across the board, but Chargers, you have literally 2 options, or not use them, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember there being like a now or never week with Arizona earlier too, where it's like you can try and use Arizona as one of your teams to win Survivor Pool, but this is the only week that's an option. So are you doing it or are you not?
Yeah.
Dude, that was
whereas Philly and Baltimore have lots of spots.
Yeah, and if you're serious about getting Philadelphia to the end, then you just know they're going to be rare. But obviously, it's hard to do. It's hard to get them to the end, but it's worth a lot if you can. Maybe I'll think about that tonight. How to play Philadelphia week 18, week 17. Man, week 17. Ugh.
Maybe I would love to split the pot in 2 with you when we both win on week 18 with Philadelphia. Every single other game is a tie, and then Philly wins, and we split the whole prize pool as the only 2 people on
if
Philly.
If you have Philadelphia in week 18, I promise you are going to be on an island.
You promise?
I promise.
I like that.
But it's based on if you make it, Jamie. If you don't make it,
yeah. The promise is revoked.
He's actually taking a subtle dig at me somehow. It's not actually about the ownership. It's about you won't make it.
Right. You're picking the Raiders. You don't even know. You don't know ball. You don't know ball if you're taking the Raiders this week. Yeah, so I look forward to us nailing some projections, getting them out there, talking to people about them, talking about that tailgate. Luckily, we don't have a Thursday game that is like everything last couple weeks. That's been like kind of the overhang of the tailgate, but we're free of that this week. We can talk about the San Fran spot a lot. I expect lots of people are thinking about this. And then after this week, we have the Thanksgiving week. I don't know how we're going to work out Atlas content that week. Like, I don't, like our tailgate, we're not doing a tailgate on Thanksgiving Day. And as far as game winning drive, these air traffic controllers, I don't know how it's going to work, guys. I don't know how.
What is the Thursday weekend? There's some games are Thursday and some are Friday. Is that how it is? Or are they all actually Thursday?
No, we got a Friday. If on Atlas you turn on the icons, you can see the day of the week.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have that selected right now.
Oh, let's get the answer. So Thursday, yeah, Philadelphia is the Friday game with that big weird F.
Okay.
It's not really in the right spot, is it? F. So it's kind of nice picking that game because you can guarantee you don't get knocked out on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, but then you can't get hammered and throw the can at the TV.
Yeah, but that's maybe a more Black Friday type of thing anyway. All right, dudes. Let's wrap it up. Let's call it there. I hope we can hang out this Thursday tailgate. I hope we can figure out what happens next week where we can do this again. Hopefully we're all surviving. Just
thriving.
Thrive.
Hopefully not just surviving. I want to thrive.
Yeah.
But what does thrive even mean this week? It means like Baltimore loses?
For me, it means getting through with Las Vegas. That would be thriving.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'm even going to try, but that is what it would look like for me.
All right. Well, best of luck, Jamie. Mikey.
Thank you.
Just luck on whatever, man. I guess.
Hey, thanks, man.
Say hi to the goats for me.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for hanging out, guys, and bye.
Bye.